Yo-ho-ho, guys. All right, so we have an incredibly interesting video, yes. We have an incredibly interesting post over here on the Dokkan subreddit that really breaks down, I would say, a lot of interesting things. So what we're going to do is we're going to kind of parse a lot of this info and kind of like, I'm going to kind of explain like how just because a unit will say like rare chance to stun, you know, high chance to dodge or something like that, it doesn't like, every unit does not have the same chance to do all of these things just because it says the same thing. A lot of the descriptions for these units are slightly off. You know, very notably, we can mention the Intelligence Chaozu and the Tech Jacko, who, you know, it says one thing, but do completely something else. So obviously, big shout outs to the Dokkan subreddit. All this info right here that we're going to be looking at, this is taken directly from the game itself. Now, he mentions here, okay. So he mentions here that this was, you know, obviously helped out by stuff that Renzi has done. And just to confirm that, I do have a post down here from Renzi himself saying, yep, looks all good to me, all accurate. So, of course, shout outs to Renzi, shout out to DBZ Space, that's him right there, confirming at Fluo? I think I've seen one of his posts before, but this is very interesting stuff. Yeah, so shout outs to Fluo, shout outs to Renzi. It's all legit. Like, this is not like, oh, I think, or, you know, they're not saying, oh, it could be this. Like, no, this is it. This is taken directly from the game itself. So all the info we're looking at here is fact. There is no opinion, nothing like that. Like, this is the actual true chance taken from the game itself. So, what we have here is, because this guy was able to dig through a lot of the database and stuff, we get, like, a lot of info as to how a lot of units actually work. Now, this one was very odd because I do think, you know, I'm not taking any shots at Fluo here, but I do think it kind of seems like he misinterprets how, like, Bulma's passive works, or maybe I'm the one making the mistake. I don't know it. One of the two. But the way Bulma works, or at least the way these type of units work, as I assume here, is that they have that chance of reducing damage on their passive. You know what? I actually did not bring Bulma up, but let me just bring the tech-free Bulma up. I apologize, guys. Usually I like to bring up all the stuff in advance before I start the video, before I do this, but bringing up this Bulma is actually a good idea. Okay, so here she is. So let's read what her passive says, right? Great chance of reducing damage received by 50%. Now, the way I interpret this and the way I think it works is that at the start of the turn, it either activates or it doesn't. If it activates, then she's reducing damage on all the attacks she receives that turn. But if it does not active, it doesn't work at all. But he's telling us that it's a 70% chance, which is really high. So this is obviously why this Bulma is so good. A 70% chance of reducing damage by 50% is quite good, I would say. And yeah, he's saying that this is the same thing that would work with like B-Pan. B-Pan is a very good unit. Now this right here, he's saying that Goku Jr.'s passive is like kind of misspelled, doesn't really accurately like tell you what it does. I've also made mistakes related to Goku Jr. in the past. We'll talk about that now. So the way Goku Jr. works is he's got the 100% chance of increasing his attack by 40%. Then there is a 70% chance that he'll boost his attack an additional 40% and reduce his defense by 40% when he does his super attack. Now, because of the way it works, it's like part of his passive. If you get an additional attack, this stuff does not get factored in a second time, right? Like I mistakenly have said before in the past, I wouldn't go additionals on Goku Jr. because he would get that negative defense a second time, but that's not actually the case because this is part of his passive. It would go off a second time if it was linked directly to his super attack in the form of, you know, lowers enemy's attack on super, raises attack on super, something like that, like actually in the super attack part of it and not the passive part of it. All the Baba Shop TURs, so this is Roshi, Great Saiyaman, Deborah, Nappa, and, Roshi, Great Saiyaman, Deborah, Nappa, Krillin. They have a 100% chance of giving that key to all allies, which is very good. And then a 70% chance that they give, I believe, 30% to attack and defense of their own type. So the Baba Shop units are really good, by the way. 70% chance is high enough that I wouldn't mind using that. So we have Tech Vegito here. The Candy Vegito has a 50% chance of evading each attack. Now again, this is not I think, or this is not could be, or this is not, this is what it feels like. This is the actual true indicator right here. It is a 50% chance Candy Vegito has to dodge each attack. Because I'll tell you firsthand, it feels less than that, but I believe that this is true. So, Janemba, right? Janemba has a 30% chance of evading each attack. And then we have Caulifla has a 50% chance of evading each attack. And then, of course, she also has the 30% chance of evading and countering a super attack. You know, the same mechanic as the Super Saiyan 4s. And according to what he says right here, her evade and counter has priority. So, like, if she gets super attacked and both of these will trigger, the countering the super attack will get priority, so she will do that. Now, if we go over here and take a look at it, right? So, we now know Caulifla has a 50% chance, and that's what her high chance is right there. And then the medium chance is a 30% chance. So, that's pretty good for Caulifla. And then we see, wait, let me confirm again what Janemba's was. 30% chance, right. So if we go take a look at Janemba over here, he does have that medium percent chance to evade enemies' attacks, which we know is 30%. So obviously this is all very interesting stuff, and this is why, like, you know, Caulifla kind of does her, you know, she does her job better than Janemba. Now, Janemba, of course, also is able to guard against all attacks, so he will always have the arrow pointed down when he is hit completely. You know, he'll neutralize, like, the extra damage that an extreme type, you know, unit would take from a super type, for example. All that stuff is very, very useful, I would say. So let's keep going. Where is my boy? Did I go by him? Okay, because Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta is in here somewhere. That's a big one I wanted to talk about. Okay, so this is really interesting, right? So the reduce attack mechanic, I had seen a long and detailed post on the sub before that kind of stated that it appeared to be a 15% debuff, and then greatly lowers attack was a 30% debuff. Well, it looks like actually reduce or lowers attack is a 20% debuff, which is unbelievably substantial. Like, this is yet another reason why Intelligence Gogeta is an absolute monster. Because every time he supers, he's lowering enemy attack by 20%. Like, Intelligence Gogeta is fucking busted. Anytime, like, they do one of these dual Dokkan Fests, I've noticed, they go crazy with the dual Dokkan Fest units. Like, you always want to pick them up because they are good and relevant for a long-ass time to come. Like, look at Super Saiyan 4 Goku and Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta. Among the 120% leads, they are easily, you know, two of the top, what do you say, 5? Probably. I'm not going through the actual list right now, but they're definitely up there. Alright, so, you know, greatly lowers attack is 30%, which is cool. Now, Vegito Blue, there was some back and forth, a lot of discussion about this, but looks like Vegito Blue has a 100% chance for that first additional, and then a 10% chance that that one will be a super attack, and then he has a 70% chance for the second one, and another 10% chance of a super attack. So this is why Vegito Blue is always doing so many just normal hits, is because of the chance that it's only a 10% chance for it to work as an SA. Now this, okay, we're going to go on a little field trip after we take a look at this, right? So, LR Trunks, his crit chance is 50%. And he goes on to explain that the way the dupe system works, like, let's say you give Trunks 15 crit, right? The 15 crit does not stack on top of his passive. So, 15 crit, you know, it doubles, so that's what, like a 30% chance or whatever? I believe the way, like, the combo attack and the crits work is it's 2 times whatever the number is. So, like, if you get 20% or 20 crit, it's like 40% or something like that. That might be wrong, but that's the way I've been told it works. That does not stack on top of Trunks' passive. So it's like a separate, it's like a separate proc, right? So if Trunks' passive does not work, Then, we'll move on to any crits you gave him in the dupe system. And then if that triggers, then, he'll still get a crit. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at Mobile Man. So obviously, you guys, Mobile Man, again, analytical advisor. He does fucking beautiful work over on the Dokkan sub. I reference a lot of the posts and points he makes. So he gives a number of thoughts related to this post, obviously, with like true numbers and true percentages being put out. Real quick, before we look at his, I do want to... Okay, yeah. So Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta, by the way, has a 70% chance of evading and countering a super attack. If we go over here, it says a high chance, which was the same as Caulifla. So even though his says high chance like Caulifla was 50% and Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta was 70%. Now, I've been telling people for a long time that Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta counters at 70% of the chance, of 70% of the time, because Mobile Man did do like a detailed test where he had I think he said he had like 200 or 150 like instances or whatever, and then it looked like to be about 70%. So it looks like his math was correct before. So yeah, here we go. So despite the fact that Bandai will use the same wording, percent chances are different. Here is another thing that's really interesting right here. So LR Trunks, according to Mobile Man's numbers, is one of 3 units who will generate more attack with a combo attack or additional attack than they will with crit, along with SCR Gogeta and Intelligence Gogeta. Now, routinely, I've seen this a lot lately. Well, people will say, well, it's up to you. It's a preference, but crits ignore defense, and additionals do not ignore defense, so I prefer to go crit. And it's like, yes, that is true. But Mobile Man, furthermore, will elaborate on this. Now, this was a post, this was kind of like a negative post and stuff. Like, it was kind of drama-filled. Like, we're not going to get into all that. Like, he tries to talk down to people and stuff. We're not going to get into all that. But I did think some of Mobile Man's info he gives here is really, really relevant. So, he points out that enemy defense is mostly a meaningless stat outside of a few select Dokkan Fest fights. So like Super Saiyan Blue Kaioken Goku, for example, we will all know, remember when the event back first came out, like you can't hurt that guy with normal attacks. Like you gotta have powerful super attacks to hit him because his defense is so high. Same with Vegito. Same with all of the Broly fights. Like, we knew all this. So he says that typically bosses have less than 15k defense, and it gets smaller since reducing enemy defense is the most common SA effect among TURs, which is true. Many, many units have that effect. So he goes on to run a bunch of numbers here and do a bunch of calculations. I mean, I don't want to completely go through it over and over and over, but basically, again, you can't really argue, direct calculations and numbers. And after running it, even, considering enemy defense in a lot of these Dokkan Fest fights, for the 2 Gogetas and Trunks, additional attack actually will provide more damage than criticals will. So for those 3 units, LR Trunks, SDR Gogeta, and Intelligence Gogeta, I myself would recommend y'all listen to Mobile Man and prioritize additional attacks for them. Intelligence Gogeta and LR Trunks even more so, because obviously Intelligence Gogeta lowers enemy attack and defense on his super attack. Again, that 20% debuff to attack is very substantial. And then LR Trunks raises his defense as well when he supers. So if your LR Trunks, I know this from experience, your LR Trunks supers twice, he's not taking damage after that. My LR Trunks got a super, did an additional super, then the physical Omega Shenron boss fight, the Omega Shenron super Trunks for double-digit damage. Fucking physical Omega, who in my opinion is like the toughest boss in the game. I mean, unless you're using the GT Link. The GT Link crushes him in seconds. But if you're not using the GT Link, Omega is definitely the toughest boss in the game, I would say. And Trunks took double-digit damage from him after supering twice. So that is a big thing to keep in mind. And then they talk about Great Ape chances as well. I don't think the Great Ape chances are as big of a deal to go over. So we got Kale has 50% chance of launching an SA with her built-in crit, or her built-in combo attack, which is why if Kale ever awakens, like, she's gonna be insanity. She'll be so fucking good. Because we look at Omega and Cooler, they have a fucking 10% chance of launching SA with their built-in combo attack. Kale's is 50%. Crazy. He also mentions that Goten and Trunks, each one of the key numbers that they can proc has an even chance. So they can go anywhere from 3 to 9 key at the start of turn, and it's the same percent chance, 14.28, for each of those key. In my experience, I've found that LR Goten and Trunks, it is ridiculously easy to get that 18 key super in any kind of meta-relevant team. So that's very good. LR Hercule has a 70% chance to proc his passive, which gives him a ton of key if you guys are not familiar. So the two Super Saiyan 4s, Goku and Vegeta, have a 30% chance of evading and countering super attacks. I will say that this number feels very high. Like, it's always felt like less than 30% to me, but that's a good way to know, so we know for sure. So Fasha has a 10% chance of transforming. Safe to assume every may transform and chance to transform unit is the same. So I would assume that's a lot of, like, Bardock's, teammates and stuff, plus Turles, Turles, Bardock, Borgos, units like that. I don't actually have in front of me which units they may transform, rare transform, all that. So AGL Goku has a 5% chance of transforming. But yeah, I guess since he's kind of like a free unit, I would say, from the Dragon Ball banner, makes sense that his rate is smaller. And then, of course, we have Int Nappa, who is a free farmable unit, has the lowest chance. Tremendous Power is a multiplier of 3. I believe Tremendous Power, I know, like, the Vegetos have that, and I believe... I think Caulifla has enormous power. Do the Super Saiyan 4s, do they have enormous or tremendous? Which one do they have? Let's see here. They have tremendous. Okay, obviously that would make sense. Alright, so let's keep going. And now, okay, here we go. This is another thing that I think is really interesting, is we have all of these stun chances for a lot of the units of the games, right? Or, here, let me get rid of this Bulma. So, again, I wanted to point out how just because a unit says rare chance to stun doesn't mean it's the same for all units. So here we have the World Tournament Super Saiyan Gohan. This is a really, really good unit, guys. This guy is amazing on the Hybrid Saiyan team. I wish I had this guy in JP so bad y'all don't even know. This guy is... If I had this guy, I would run him every single fucking time I ran the Mixed Blood Hybrid Saiyan team, because the Hybrid Saiyan team is one of the worst, like, linking teams in the game unless you have all the LRs. I do, but still, like, it's not fun to just use the same team every single time over and over. Like, even though I'm going to use a Hybrid Saiyan team, I do like to mix it up. And if you take out all the LRs, which link pretty well together, then a lot of the other mixed Saiyans, like, such a weird mishmash of links over in a flash, prepare for battle, and shocking speed. And so a unit like Super Saiyan Gohan would be very good. But I completely went off on a tangent there. Sorry about that. He has a rare chance to stun. That was the point with this Gohan, which we see is 20% right there is Gohan's chance. Now, let's take a look at hit. Rare chance to stun. Now, if we go look in here, hit is 20%. Wait, no. Yeah, here we go. This is the one I was looking at. TUR hit, 25% on SA, 40% on passive. So despite the fact that it says rare for both of these right here, the TUR hit actually does have a higher chance than the Super Saiyan Gohan. And we get a bunch of other stuff, like, so Int Turles has a 50% chance to stun. That's pretty good. The General Blues have a 70% chance. Now, this is actually pretty interesting here. So, I had always assumed that the SSR, General Blue, had a higher chance to stun than the SR version. I actually want to bring this up real quick. Would he be in B or would he be in G? Yeah, he'll probably be in G. All right, let's take a look at General Blue, because I believe the wording is actually different on both versions. So let's see here. The SSR version, by the way, is exclusive to the Arale banner. I believe there's a very good chance that might come back to Global soon. That was kind of like the same tip-off we got that Intelligence Gogeta was about to drop on Global. So he's great chance to stun the enemy. And what does this blue have? Great chance. Okay, never mind. So they have the same great chance there. I gotcha. Now that basically does it. Like, you know, we see more stun chances for a lot of these units. But that does it, guys. That is this big, long post that I thought this is definitely something to make a video on. Because, again, these are all, like, factual stuff taken straight from the game. So it will allow us to understand certain things better. So, like, Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta, like, knowing that he has that true 70% chance to counter, like, when he gets super attacked, that makes him, like, insanity. He will output so much damage per, like, fight. He's absolutely an insane card. Big shout-outs to Fluo, Renzi, Mobile Man, everyone over on the Dokkan sub. They do a lot of good work. Thank y'all, and thank you all for watching. Later.